You know, when you're talking to someone and it is going great and something shifts in the energy, you can just feel it. You don't know why, you don't know how, but you can tell that something has changed. And then they go radio silent. You literally never hear from this person again. And you're left feeling rejected, wondering why it is that they have ghosted you. Hi, my loves. My name is Deandra Nicolette. On my channel, we chat everything spirituality, astrology, mindset, dating, anything and everything I feel called to talk about. And today, my loves, I want to talk about ghosting. And I want you to understand why someone ghosting you is not a reflection of you and it is not a rejection of you. So sit in, strap in, grab yourself a snack, grab yourself a beverage of your choice, and let's go ahead and dive into today's conversation where we are talking about why rejection is not personal. So, if you're not familiar with the term, hi, what rock have you been living under? I'm kidding. But listen. If you're not familiar with the term, ghosting is when you're literally talking to someone. Typically, we're talking dating wise, and this is what I'm going to focus on in this video. And they literally despair. Like they just stop communicating with you. You are pretty sure they are still alive and well, okay, and existing. But for some reason, they have just stopped talking to you and they have given you no reason, no explanation, no why, nothing happened. They just poof, upped and gone. Gone is not a word, but you get the vibe, okay? Our minds are wired to seek connection and closure. So when someone ghosts us out of nowhere and we have literally no explanation as to why they've done what they've done, our minds go into overdrive and we're left on the other end overthinking why they ghosted us. We start to wonder if it's something that we did, if it's who we are, why this always happens to us, if this has happened to us before. And it leaves us feeling really hurt. And it's a very painful experience if you have been on the other end of ghosting. I want y'all to know that someone ghosting you has nothing to do with you. As much as you want to sit here and overthink and wonder why it is someone has disappeared on you and you want to make it a story about you because you are hurt, I promise you, my love, this has literally nothing to do with you. There are a few reasons why people ghost, and I want to go over some of them. So, one reason why some people ghost is due to fear of confrontation. And I've definitely done this before, ghosted someone due to my own personal fear of confrontation. And this is a really awful way to deal with fear of confrontation because, of course, if you are afraid of confronting someone, the best thing to do really is to confront someone, is to push past that awkwardness that you might be feeling on the inside, that fear of whatever they're going to say to you. But I also want to add the caveat, by the way, in talking about ghosting, that there are definitely stories of women who have ghosted men because of a fear of how that man will react. Maybe in the past, they've dealt with situations where they have been honest and upfront about not wanting to date someone or not wanting to speak to someone. And that person responded by getting really angry, getting really violent, getting really mean, maybe even stalking them, something like that. And so, if you've ever had an experience like that, I can absolutely understand your hesitation with wanting to communicate to someone that you no longer want to speak with them or you didn't feel a connection. And this may even happen on the side with men as well. I'm just talking from a female heterosexual perspective about my experiences and the experiences I've heard from other women. So, fear of confrontation is a big one. And of course, that's very complex because it could literally be that you are afraid of someone kind of going crazy and being really awful to you. But it could also just be that you are really timid about confrontation and you just do not want to take the chance to express how you feel to someone. And so you ghost them. Emotional avoidance is another reason why someone will ghost. I've definitely been in situations with men where I feel like this was kind of what was happening, where I could feel them starting to pull away as things got more real. And a lot of times, too, there are people where they say they want a relationship, they say they want connection. However, when things start to get real and things start to hit the fan, they will pull away, they will disconnect, they will ghost you because they can't deal with the intensity of what they're feeling, or they can't deal with the possibility that things are getting more real than they intended them to, or more real than they expected them to. And so instead of confronting that having a conversation with themselves, the therapist that they probably need to see, or with you, they pull away and they ghost. Another reason why someone will ghost, which I think is also really prevalent in this day and age with dating apps, is basically shiny object syndrome. So, someone being on dating apps, they're talking to you, you guys are kind of getting serious or more serious rather, going on dates, and instead of them continuing to date you and uncover what you have to hold and who you are as a person, they decide that they want to find out if there's someone possibly better than you out there. And I feel like this is the con of dating apps because literally there are so many options that people always feel like they can find someone who is better. They can find someone who won't be argumentative like you. They can find someone who, has a cleaner car than you, has a nicer house than you, likes the same video games that they like, likes the same movies as they like. And we're all allowed to have our standards for what we want in a partner. However, I do think that we have to admit that there's something sort of like insidious about the nature of dating apps and always swiping to find better and better and better and better and better. Because when will you stop? What is the actual end goal? When will you find someone who is good enough for you to settle down with? And so someone might ghost you not because you're not good enough or because you've done anything wrong, but simply because they've decided that it's time for them to look for someone who is better. And when we talk about ghosting and all of these things, it's not to diminish what you might feel being on the other end of being ghosted, because I've been there and it's painful and it sucks. And as much as you know that it's not about you and what you've done and your worth, it does make you question yourself. It makes you question a lot of things about who you are, how you showed up in the process. Was I too much? Was I not enough? Should I have spoken up more? Should I have spoken up less? All of these different things it makes you question. But I want you to know that as long as you show up in every connection that you're making, especially when it comes to dating, as yourself, whoever you are in that moment, in that chapter, flaws and all, then you have done yourself good service. Like, I want you to know that we are all flawed individuals. This is not to say that that excuses anyone who is an adult, aware of their traumas, aware of their really contentious behaviors, to avoid fixing them. But this is to say that we are flawed human beings. So you are allowed to be flawed. You are allowed to not show up as a perfect human being and to be able to seek love knowing that you are imperfect. Because just because you're not imperfect doesn't mean you don't deserve love, because no one is perfect. And so you can show up in these connections, flawed and all, human and all, being yourself in whatever shape, form, and way that looks like in this particular chapter, and be worthy and deserving of love. And someone ghosting you doesn't mean that you are any less worthy and deserving of what it is that you want and who it is that you want in your life. Ghosting is a reflection of that person. It's a reflection of their shortcomings as a person. It's a reflection of where they need to grow. And saying this as someone who has ghosted people before, it's a reflection on their struggles, their fears, what it is that they need to work on, and how it is that they need to grow. And like I said, it's easier said than done to sit there and be like, oh yeah, I got ghosted. Like, I am going to just understand that this is on that person, it's not on me. But maybe the more that you actually hear this message, whether it's from me or other people, podcasts that you listen to or YouTube channels that you watch, you'll start to really ingrain it in your head and understand that people's behavior is always a reflection of them, what it is that they've learned, and how far it is that they've come with their journey when it comes to self-healing, awareness, and growth, than it is about you and your journey with those things. It's very likely that they don't possess at this point the level of communication skills that it would take to maintain a healthy relationship with you. That is something that can be worked on. And that is something that, again, having the self-awareness to know, hey, maybe I shouldn't be ghosting people. Let me seek help. Or, hey, maybe I should stop trying to ghost people and let me actually rectify this behavior. That's one thing. We can all grow and learn. But if someone's ghosting you, let them go and know that they're missing out on a good partner, but also know that they were never really meant for you. And maybe in some cases they come back and they apologize and they recognize the error of what they've done. And I do think that this can be forgiven because, again, we're all flawed human beings. So there's something to be said about learning from your mistakes and growing and being able to apologize to someone and move on from there. But in this moment, at this time, the behavior they have shown you that they don't possess the communication skills that you want from them, that you need from them, and that should be your standard. You should want a partner who is able to communicate with you, even if it's very uncomfortable. And again, caveat, I want y'all to know that all of these scenarios I'm talking about, I'm not talking about the women that are afraid for their lives when they're literally ghosting these men who they feel like could blow up on them, because that is like a completely separate topic and situation. When someone ghosts you, detach from the why. Do not sit there and try to overanalyze every single thing that you did, every single thing that you said to figure out why they ghosted. You're going to drive yourself mad. Let it go, detach from that. Know that they did it for a reason that somehow makes sense to them, and you will probably never know or never understand, and that is okay. Redirect your energy. Find people that actually know how to communicate. And this is part of dating. It is figuring out what your communication standards are, what you need in a partner, how you want them to speak to you and address you, and finding someone that can match that. And unfortunately, in this vetting process, part of the vetting process involves meeting people who can't meet that standard and who will not actually make it through your filters. Ghosting is not a reflection of you. And I just want to leave you with that tidbit, with that. If you took anything away from this video, take that away, because at the end of the day, you can literally show up as your best self, do everything in your power to nurture a relationship, and someone could just simply not be at the level necessary for them to show up in a similar way for you. And that is never a reflection of you and your worth and what it is that you deserve. Thank you all so much for being here, my loves. I appreciate you. Make sure to comment down below. Let me know if you've ever been ghosted and how that affected your self-esteem and what helped you work through that. Give this video a thumbs up, share it with someone who might find this insightful or helpful if they are going through something like this right now. And I will chat with y'all in my very next video. Thanks, my loves.